Well, the thing is that the Russians have been sanctioned about as much as you can sanction any particular country. There's not much you can do to the Russians in terms of sanctions. The secondary sanctions are designed to punish countries that trade with Russia, and that would include countries like China and India. And they're basically going to tell the United States to go take a hike when Trump threatens, to put these huge sanctions on both China and India and many other countries for trading with the Russians. They're going to feel they have the right to trade with China as they see, with Russia as they see fit, and they'll continue to trade.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting on Face the Nation yesterday, CBS News. You had Lindsey Graham and Senator Blumenthal were interviewed on there, and one of the really kind of provocative things that Lindsey Graham said. I know he's the big rhetoric, no power dude. But anyway, he specifically on that, he says we are going to have these huge secondary tariffs on China, India, and Brazil. Obviously, the core members of the BRICS team. So my first question to you is, you kind of answered part of it right there. What would those countries do? Would they have to make a decision? Because that's what Lindsey Graham said. This would force them to decide if you want to do business with America or if you want to do business with someone else. Doesn't this run the risk of making other people around the world, other countries, think, you know what, maybe we better go with the BRICS because that seems a little more stable?
Well, there's no question that all sorts of countries are interested in putting as much distance as possible between them and the United States. And given American policy on things like tariffs and sanctions, and even starting wars, this is fully understandable. But what's really going on here is that if Trump were to put these sanctions on, and they were to go into effect, if countries like India and China went along with them, it would have devastating consequences for the international economy. You just can't do this kind of thing. And they're not going. These countries like India and China are not going to accept these secondary sanctions anyway.
And so if they don't accept the secondary sanctions, and presumably there would be at least enough experts in the administration to realize that it's a gamble to make that threat, and then all of a sudden the other side takes the wrong course, so to speak, and moves against us, then that would harm our economy. Isn't that right?
Well, our economy is inextricably bound up with the international economy. So any damage you do to the international economy is going to blow back into the United States. And this is something that Trump doesn't want.